The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the final vote flickered across the holographic display. 3,000 civilizations had cast their judgment, and the result was damning. Earth was to be banished from the Galactic Commonwealth, effective immediately. Ambassador Diana Chen stood at the human delegation podium, her dark eyes scanning the assembled representatives from across known space. The Krithax had proposed the motion. The Valorum had seconded it, and now, species after species had voted to cast humanity into the cosmic wilderness, forbidden from trade, communication, or travel beyond their own solar system. The motion passes, announced High Arbiter Zelketh, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's ambient light into 1,000 dancing colors. Humanity has been found in violation of Protocol 774, excessive territorial expansion, Protocol 239, unregulated technological development, and Protocol 113, cultural contamination of pre-contact species. Diana didn't flinch. Beside her, Kevin Morrison, Earth's military liaison and her closest friend, placed a hand on the podium's edge. His knuckles were white, but his face remained carefully neutral. "We acknowledge the Council's decision," Diana said, her voice carrying across the chamber with crystalline clarity. "However, before we depart, humanity wishes to make one final statement." Zalketh's form pulsed with what might have been irritation. "The vote is concluded, Ambassador. There is no—" "We're not contesting the vote," Diana interrupted smoothly. "We are simply clarifying the terms of our departure." A murmur rippled through the assembled delegates. The Valorum representative, a gaseous being contained within an environmental suit, shifted nervously. They had expected anger, perhaps even threats, but Diana's calm was somehow more unsettling. "You see," Diana continued, stepping forward, "when humanity joined the Galactic Commonwealth 47 years ago, we agreed to abide by your protocols. We opened our databases, shared our technology, integrated our systems with yours. We played by your rules." Kevin activated a holographic display behind her. Data streams began flowing across the chamber. Trade routes, communication networks, defense grids, all interconnected in a vast web of galactic civilization. "What many of you may not realize," Diana said, her voice taking on an edge, "is that during those 47 years, human engineers, human programmers, and human technicians became indispensable." The display zoomed in on a critical junction point in the Galactic Trade Network. The label read, Cairo Hub Station, Human Engineering Corps. 63% of the Commonwealth's faster-than-light communication relays, Diana announced, were designed, built, or maintained by human specialists. Our unique approach to quantum entanglement, which you all deemed unregulated technological development, actually solved the cascade failure problem that had plagued your networks for millennia. Another section of the display highlighted,
78% of your defensive orbital platforms use human-designed targeting algorithms.
The Krithax, she nodded toward the insectoid delegate who had proposed the banishment. Your homeworld is currently protected by a grid that 3 human engineers spent 4 years building. Kevin spoke for the first time, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. "We also wrote the core operating system for the Council's voting mechanism. The very system you just used to banish us." The chamber erupted in discord. Representatives began shouting in hundreds of languages, their translation devices creating a cacophony of overlapping voices. Diana raised her hand and the noise gradually subsided. "We're not threatening anyone," she said. "We're simply making you aware of the situation. When humanity leaves the Commonwealth, our people leave with us, all of them. Every engineer, every technician, every specialist currently maintaining the infrastructure you've all come to rely on." Zalketh's form flickered rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. "You would sabotage the Commonwealth? That is an act of war." "Sabotage?" Diana's eyebrow arched. "We're complying with your verdict. You've banished us. That means all humans must return to Earth. We're simply following your rules." Kevin added, "We've prepared extraction protocols for all human personnel. They'll be leaving their posts over the next 72 hours. We've also included documentation," he gestured, and thousands of files appeared in the display, "detailed manuals on how to maintain everything we built. Of course, some of it requires understanding of human mathematical frameworks that aren't taught in Commonwealth institutions, and some requires human-specific neural interfaces. But I'm sure you'll figure it out eventually. The Valorum representative's suit trembled. "This is blackmail!" "No," Diana corrected gently. "Blackmail would be if we threatened to destroy these systems unless you changed your vote. We're not destroying anything. We're not threatening anyone. We're leaving as instructed and taking our people with us. What happens after that is entirely in your hands." She paused, letting the silence stretch. "You voted to banish us for excessive territorial expansion. But you never asked why humans expanded so aggressively. It's because we don't abandon people. Every human colony, every outpost, every settlement. We maintain supply lines, we ensure communications, we build infrastructure to keep them connected and safe. That's not contamination or violation. That's how humanity works." Kevin pulled up another display. "For the record, we've also compiled a list of ongoing projects that will be affected by our departure. The Delphina terraforming operation, 30 years from completion, currently staffed by 400 human atmospheric specialists. The Kepler Station Medical Research Facility, developing cures for 17 Commonwealth diseases, led by human virologists. The Andromeda Bridge construction project." "Enough!" The Krethax delegate's mandibles clacked furiously. "You've made your point, humans." Diana smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Have we? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like you voted to cast us out without understanding what we actually contributed. You saw our expansion and called it aggression. You saw our innovation and called it dangerous. You saw our diversity and called it contamination." She gestured to the data still flowing across the displays. "Humanity learned a long time ago that civilization requires cooperation. Not just within our own species, but with everyone we encounter. We integrated ourselves into your Commonwealth because we believed in what it represented. We solved problems, built bridges, literal and figurative, and asked for nothing but the chance to be part of something larger than ourselves." Zalketh's form had stopped flickering. "What are you proposing, Ambassador?" "I'm not proposing anything," Diana replied. "The vote has passed. We're leaving. But I want this council to understand something. Humanity doesn't break rules out of malice or ignorance. When we bend them, it's because we've found a better way. When we expand, it's because we refuse to leave anyone behind. And when we innovate, it's because standing still means falling behind." She closed the displays with a gesture. "You have 72 hours before the first systems start experiencing maintenance failures. I suggest you spend that time wisely. Either figure out how to maintain everything we built or—" She paused meaningfully. "Reconsider what banishment really means when you're cutting out a species that's been holding your infrastructure together." Kevin collected their data tablets. "We'll be on our transport if you need us. For the next 72 hours anyway." As Diana and Kevin turned to leave, the Valorum representative spoke up, its voice crackling through its environmental suit's speakers. "And if we reconsidered? If we reopened the vote?" Diana looked back over her shoulder. "Then we'd have a conversation about what it really means to be part of a Commonwealth. About rules that serve civilization instead of stifling it. About judging species by their contributions rather than their differences." "But that's a conversation for civilizations that want us here," Kevin added. "Not ones that vote to throw us out because we make them uncomfortable." The two humans walked toward the exit, their footsteps echoing in the suddenly silent chamber. Behind them, 3,000 civilizations began to realize that sometimes the most important rules weren't the ones written in protocols and regulations. Sometimes they were the unspoken ones, like never taking for granted those who keep the lights on. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was called 6 hours later. The vote to rescind Earth's banishment passed unanimously, but the humans took their time coming back to the negotiating table. After all, they had rules too, and one of them was that respect once lost had to be earned back the hard way.